Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Sports Card Madness. This is LZ. I am here with Nick, and today we have a special guest. We have Hayden Wynja, who is a 6'9" lefty professional pitcher for the Eugene Emeralds, which is a minor league affiliate of the San Francisco Giants. This guy throws heat. He's got a 10.1 K per nine, so he's lots of strikeouts. And he actually threw an immaculate inning, which is incredible. And we're going to get into that. And all that said, he's a listener. He's a collector. We're happy to have him on. And stand by till the end of the show because Hayden is very nice to actually give away a special opportunity for any of our listeners who have a child who plays baseball. Hayden's going to give away a special one-on-one meeting with him where you can ask him tips and tricks and everything he did to become a pro baseball player. So Hayden, welcome to the show. Happy to have you.
Thanks for having me. I'm looking forward to it. And thank you for the nice introduction. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Thanks for doing that for our audience. It's going to be pretty cool. We'll let you know later in the show how you're eligible for it.
Awesome.
So Hayden, yeah, you're a beast, man. You're a tall lefty with some heat. That's pretty cool. How was your first season with Eugene? And like, what's the best story you've got from the season?
So I finished my second full year in professional baseball. I was in Eugene this year. This year was actually, relatively frustrating. I dealt with a little bit of an injury for the first time in pro ball, nothing serious. So I came back and finished the season strong, but it's always kind of digs at you being a competitor and being sidelined for a little bit, but it's part of the story. It happens. So I got promoted to Eugene right at the All-Star break of my first year from San Jose, and kind of been there since. Started in San Jose, went to Eugene, and just to be honest, it's a dream come true, just being able to play baseball for a living. I try to be very, appreciative of that fact and not take it for granted because, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm throwing a baseball for a living, and
right.
It's hard to complain. So
Hayden, what is an immaculate inning?
An immaculate inning is when you strike out three guys in an inning on the minimum pitches, so 9 pitches. It's a 9-pitch inning with all strikeouts. And I was fortunate enough to kind of have the ball bounce my way and get one of those. It was actually my first ever pro start, I believe.
Come on!
I was
wow. That's awesome.
I'm not 100% confident on that, but it was one of my first 2 or 3 for sure.
Yeah,
because I kind of started in low A in San Jose as a kind of closer, late relief guy, and I did that for probably the first 2 months, and then they kind of came to me and said, "Hey, we're going to try to start you."
Uh-huh.
So one of my first starts, I'd started in college, and I went out through 4 really good innings, and my pitching coach comes in and says, "Hey, man, empty the tank, see what you got." And I said, "All right, let's go empty it." And about 7 pitches in, I go, "I don't think I've thrown a ball yet."
So, they're chasing after every one of these pitches.
That reminds me. Remember Pedro Martinez in the '99 All-Star game? It wasn't immaculate, but I think it was 1 pitch off. Right? He just wiped out. He pitched 2 innings. That was the problem. And I think like one person got a hit or something. But it's crazy.
It's a cool feeling, right? Like when you're up on the mound and the results are going to go your way, because
I like it.
You can kind of just rear back and say, "Here it is," and and then when it goes your way, who knows what may happen?
Now that you describe that, is it something similar to you hear about it when people like playing basketball, like pro athletes, that they're like in the zone when they're playing basketball. Not even pro athletes, like even, me in high school, like once in a while I'd feel that way. Is it the same feeling? Because we were catching up beforehand. You played basketball growing up too. Mm-hmm. Like, is that how it feels on the mound? Like you were in the zone and you just felt like every one of these pitches was just going to go your way. You were like very locked in. Like, I'm just curious to feel that way.
It's a flow state, right?
And
you hear a lot of professional athletes and high level athletes talk about the flow state, when they're not thinking, and it's just it's reactionary almost. And it feels like when you're in the flow state, you only make the right decisions. And, you know, a lot of these high level athletes, I hear them talk, and a lot of them, a lot of their training and mental preparation is how do they get to that flow state consistently. It's not necessarily a skill issue. It's not, you know, so and so's 100 times better than, you know, this certain double A guy. It's more so those guys have gotten so good at being consistent and so good at just being where their feet are and being in the moment and being consistent and finding that flow state that, I mean, it's once you're able to do that, it's so much easier said than done, right? But once you're able to kind of, if you're able to ever find that flow state on command, I mean, you're in for a fun ride, right?
Oh,
I mean,
boy.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Everything, it's clarity. It gives you clarity, right? I mean, when you're not weighed down by, you know, performance anxiety or, you know, the uncontrollables, the umpires, the weather, the, you know, the this, the that, when you're able to just go out there and say, this is who I am, this is what I got today, let's see what happens.
Love it.
How do you practice for that? Like, you talk about how a lot of pro athletes like mentally get prepared. Like, what exercises do you go through, more mental than physical, to like prepare yourself?
Yeah, I think that's honestly, that's a great question. That's where, when I was hurt this year and spent a little bit of time in rehab, that's what I really tried to figure out and learn about myself. That's the thing I tell people. It's not I can't give you a 3-step process and say, hey, you're cured, right? It's an individual basis. Everyone learned the game differently. Everyone was taught differently. Everyone values things differently. So it's really a case by case basis, and it's what calms you down, what helps you be in the moment. Like for me, it's a lot of like, when I was younger, I'd used to listen to a lot of loud, you know, in your face music, try to get me amped up. And what I found is, you know, through the course of a really long season, that's exhausting. And so it's how to find ways, you know, to, you know, being okay with being myself, and then, you know, have the confidence in my abilities on the mound. And it's like, for me, like, it changes. I'm a big believer in, you know, not doing the same thing the same exact way every time. So I like to switch it up, like whether or not, you know, there are times I'll meditate, or I'll do yoga the night before, or a lot of things to just kind of calm me down, because I don't have an issue necessarily getting up and getting ready to go. It's more of an issue of I gotta make sure I'm level headed, right? Like I gotta make sure.
Very cool. I like it.
That's great that you're that self-aware at a young point in your career. That's awesome. Right. Before we move on, so you switched. Me and Nick talk about music a lot on here. So you were listening to like heavy music. What was the heavy music you were listening to?
A lot of rap. Definitely. Okay. I'd say I'm a rap head. Definitely. Okay. I'm from Indiana, so country sneaks in there. But yeah, I'd say just like especially in college, right? Like put in your headphones, put on noise canceling, like get in the zone, right? Like,
sure.
Yeah. I'm a killer, you know, but you know, I learned that it doesn't necessarily work like that. Like I mean, Kobe Bryant's one of my favorite athletes of all time. And something that he said that really sticks with me, and I think about it a lot, is he wouldn't play he put in headphones, but he wouldn't play music. He would listen to things that, funny, he says he would listen to the like a horror movie theme song or whatever. But he's like, what that would do would get him in the mindset of like void of emotion. And once you have the void of emotion, you have the freedom to make adjustments in game, and just kind of diving into that. And it sounds crazy, but it
doesn't.
No, it sounds cool. I like this. I like this peeling back the curtain stuff. Some people might think it's foo-foo or whatever, but we all need to be. Even if you're frank in accounting, man, you want to throw on some ear pods and get in the zone, right? And like,
it's the kind of zone is what I'm learning, right? Like it's what, you know, finding out what locked in for me really is, like what being locked in feels like, and how to get there, I guess.
So are you doing the same type of thing now then? Are you like similar to Kobe? Are you listening to more of that kind of, or are you still into music a bit now?
I'd say, I mean, yeah, I love music just in general. So I always listen to music, but I'd say I definitely have adopted some of those. And I'm not comparing myself to Kobe by any means, but I think,
why not?
I think he had a lot. I mean, obviously he's one of the greatest for a reason. And I think his mastery of the mental side of things is what makes him so good. Obviously he's a great athlete, but I don't think he was 10 times better athletically than anybody in the league. I think his mind was 10 times better than anyone in the league. And I think that's
well put.
I genuinely think that's a big separating factor for a lot of people, and it doesn't really get a lot of attention.
Right.
Yep.
So Hayden, we're gonna spin this about in a few minutes towards the collectible side of things. But before we do, we just had a few more questions about baseball, just because we don't really get to talk to professional athletes all that often, and it's kind of awesome to learn about this. So just tell me about like getting drafted by the Braves. Like, what was that like? You know, how'd you find out? What was that feeling like? You know?
So yeah, I was drafted out of high school by the Atlanta Braves. I actually ended up turning it down and going to college first. But the whole process, I didn't think I was getting drafted. I'll be honest, I sucked in high school. I was terrible. But the one thing I've always said is I always knew I wanted to be a professional athlete. I always knew I wanted to be a professional baseball player, and there wasn't anybody that was going to tell me anything different. And I genuinely believed that. I mean, yeah, my freshman year of high school, this is a true story. I was cut from the basketball team and cut from the baseball team. And after baseball cuts, I was told high school sports weren't for everybody. And I'm in ninth grade, right? I mean,
how tall were you as a freshman?
5'10".
Oh wow!
Whoa.
Oh geez, and you're 6'9". So yeah, you put on some serious height in high school.
Yeah, it happened quick. I had braces my junior year of high school. I'm a definition of a late bloomer. So.
Yeah. But I mean, even 5'10", and I mean, yeah, in high school, 5'10". I mean, you weren't a point guard. Like you had some good size at 5'10" as a freshman.
I was pretty skinny. I was like 5'10", maybe like a $110, $115.
Oh,
I hadn't grown, and you know, it's funny when I hit 6 foot for the first time my sophomore year. My doctor told me I was done growing, and I looked at my mom. I'm like, is she serious? You know, like,
feed this guy. Feed him.
Then, I just kept shooting up, and then. You know, it's funny. I tell a lot of people, I think getting cut and kind of going through the things I went through was one of the best things to happen for me. You know, it taught me a lot of things that a lot of people don't learn nowadays, like the ability to just show up, you know, and not being attached to results, like not being in a good mood because I pitched well. I didn't pitch my first 3 years of college. I had a 9.5 ERA in high school. Like if you add up all these things, I shouldn't be playing baseball.
Wow.
It's
cool.
That's the beauty of this game. I mean, that's why I love baseball so much, and why I'm so passionate about it is because it's not the kids who are number one recruits in high school that make it. It's not the kids who are number one in college. It's the kids who care. It's the kids who, you know, want to live out their childhood dream. It's the kids who care about it. It's people play for the, you know, why do you play, right? And the people with strong whys are the guys who rise to the top. So at least that's what I've seen, and that's the route, that's the path I'm trying to stay on, you know.
I love what you're saying. I'm very excited about this giveaway that we're going to have for one lucky listener, because some of the things you're saying, I can just picture your conversation with a son or a daughter of one of our listeners. It's going to be phenomenal. Probably last question around baseball before we get into collecting. Who is the toughest out that you've faced? You got to give credit to one of your opponents, or I guess it could be a teammate. That might be out the easy way.
It's funny when I'm asked that question, I always think about college teammates, because those are the guys I face in the fall, and it's like I feel like if I were to, like, some of my toughest outs were like in fall ball scrimmages that no one saw, right? Like at Murray State, and, you know, guys who don't even play anymore. I'd say in pro ball, someone who I have who I feel like sees me really well is. He debuted with the Mariners this year, Tyler Locklear. I think his swing is that guy can hit. He sent a ball last year about 115 right at my head. I struck him out the next AB, but I saw him. I remember seeing him later on. I saw him a lot in the Arizona Fall League, and I faced him a lot, and I'm super impressed with that guy's approach. And then I wasn't surprised to see him skyrocket through AA and AAA like he did this year.
Yeah, wow. Nice. Are you collecting him?
I'm not. I don't have any of his stuff.
You realize you have inside information here, right?
You do.
I mean, I want to know all the good hitters with all the good swings. You know,
I was talking to one of my friends. I was like, you know, we can buy baseball cards, but you know, feels like betting on baseball in a way, you know, but not
that's true, right? I mean, yeah, it's different, but that is funny. LZ and I always deal with autographs all the time. We're big autograph guys, and we are like, we love it. We send them to players. How is a good way for somebody to like mail you a request for an autograph or like try to get your autograph like in person or something like that?
I think for me, the most stuff that I've signed have been from fans who know who you are. I think that's the biggest. Like I've been, it's funny. Like it's hard like being around it. Like I've been yelled. I feel personally, I feel like I'm 6'9" and I feel like I stand out. Uh, right, and like it's funny, kind of. And at the end of the year, my point is, I got mistaken for one of my teammates who's 5'9", and he was yelling at me by his name. And so like it's hard for me, yelling so and so's name. I'm like, that's not me.
No.
But I will never, if I hear my name and someone's brings one of my cards to a game or brings something and they want that interaction, like that's something that personally I value so much. I mean, it's a big reason why I play the game. It's a big reason why I'm able to play the game too. Having fans and having the people that it's a surreal feeling. People value that, right? And it's a cool position to be in. And me personally, like I always try to do a good job of if someone brings something for me to sign, especially that if it's my name, and I hear them, I'll go sign it. And I know most of my teammates are the same way. It's hard when it's hard when you can't put a face with it sometimes, right? Like if I'm being yelled, the wrong name, I don't know they're yelling at me. Like I don't know if they actually have my, I'm not going to sign my buddy's card with my name on it. What I mean?
That's
so. Speaking of cards, how do you understand the process of Bowman Chrome? When is that going to happen? Like, does that talk to us about cards? Like, what do you know about getting your own card?
I'm hoping to get mine soon. I think it's funny. I actually told you I need to talk with my agent about it here in the next couple of days. I'm hopefully we can figure something out this off season. If it's not this off season, I think by next off season, I think it's going to make it hard for somebody not to want to give me a card. But
interesting. So that I mean, you just even saying that, it's not like I thought my idea of you getting a card was, all right, you got to get to, I don't know, AA or even AA or AAA before you're even going to qualify. But you're saying you can have your agent just go and like fight for you to get a card?
Yeah, hopefully.
Okay, interesting.
Part of it. So my story is I told you briefly about my college journey, being bounced around a little bit. I was a free agent. I was drafted out of high school, but I went to college first, and I wasn't ready to be a pro baller out of college or out of high school, and I knew that, and so I knew I needed to go to college, and I thought I should have maybe gotten drafted, but that's a different story. And it ended up not happening. But I got the call from the Giants, and then it's been good ever since. But at the time, being a free agent guy, you don't necessarily get those looks of Bowman's not calling on your doorstep. You're not a first rounder. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm trying to look at it. I don't have a lot of cards out there right now, so maybe some of those team sets are the cool ones. And fast forward 10 years, those are going to be the early ones.
But, so before I ask this next question, Hayden, for those on YouTube, I want you to flash something really cool that you got. You did this at San Jose, I think, right? And you showed us offline, but I want the audience to see it. For those on audio, I'll describe it. Basically, what he did was he got every single teammate of his to sign almost like a photo book of, but it's obviously cards instead of photos, and they all sign the card. So he has,
So I got this little binder, and it's got all of my teammates. I made sure I didn't miss anybody.
That is so awesome. What about the coach? Did he get a card?
Yeah, even our clubby, our athletic trainer,
nice.
Everybody.
That's awesome.
That's really cool.
Really cool. Everybody. So I mean, that's something I try to do. Like I said, growing up being a collector, and I told you about the bat that I got when I got a bat from our equipment guys, and I made sure to get our whole draft class to sign it. And I did the cards, and just something I think is going to be cool. Growing up when I was really young, I wasn't in a pro clubhouse, right? But I would have given anything to be able to do that. I think a lot of it is just my inner kid, my inner child, wanting it.
I can see it, man. You're very passionate. You almost have like the passion of like an excited 10-year-old collecting. And I think you told us that you kind of really got into things like 5 months ago, whatever. You hit me up on Instagram. That's how we met, and it was actually about you got a little bit scammed. Not like a crazy level scam, but you got scammed. Do you want to describe what happened?
Yeah, so got into car. I've always been into cards, right? It kind of comes in waves. And recently, you said a couple months ago, I kind of got into the online world of it, the social media, and kind of that side of the things. And part of it, trying to chase some basketball cards this year. I wanted to get a couple of Prism Monopoly boxes. So looking online, and I see this random listing from a website, and I buy kidsy.com, and I buy two boxes, and the boxes both show up, and every pack is opened, and there's like 4 or 5 cards missing. And and then I called them back saying like, hey, my stuff's open, this isn't what I bought. And then they're like, oh no, you should have known better. And then they blocked me on Instagram, they blocked me on Facebook, because I was not happy, right?
Wait a minute. You should have. What do you mean you should have known better? Should have known what? That you were buying crap from them? Like what?
Yeah. What is this? I left them a review, and I was like, "Hey, this is a scam." And I said something about like. Then they blocked me, and they responded to my forum post, and they're like, "Hey, you should have read the product description." So I screenshotted the product description, and I replied to them, and I go, "Where does it say they're opened?"
Yeah, the product description is open packs with 5 cards missing. Like
that is called call your credit card and get it charged back. Just pausing the episode here quick to tell you about DraftKings' new app, Pick 6. If you think your team is going to score more than 100 points, or your favorite point guard is going to score more than 4 3-pointers, this is how it works. You actually pick 2 to 6 players of the same sport, and you choose if they will have more or less of a stat: points, assists, rebounds, whatever. You lock them in, you compete against other opponents for a shot at big cash prizes. If you download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now, you can actually use code MADNESS6. That will allow you to play $5 and actually get $50 in credits guaranteed. Now back to the show. And I will.
Wow. Too, and
what was the name of them again? One more.
We're going to put it in the description, but yeah, what's the name?
Kidsy.com or
Kidsy.co or something like that. I'm going to drop it in the description so people can beware, I guess.
Okay. Don't buy from them.
Buyer beware.
They don't care about you. Yeah.
Wow. Well, so that's a crappy way to buy cards. You had a bad experience there. How are you collecting? How are you buying cards? Are you going to card shows? Are you going to card shops? Like, how are you buying them?
Yeah. Right now, right when I got back into them, it was a lot. I'm in the Indianapolis area, so there's a lot of retail stores around here, and it seems to be like the Indy area is always pretty stocked with some retail stuff. So it started just kind of going to Target, checking the Targets, and learning, like watching a lot of YouTube videos, learning what I should be buying and what I shouldn't be buying, instead of just chasing names per se. And then I kept getting really lucky. and so, I mean, naturally, right, you're going to keep doing it. And I think now it's kind of switched a little bit to where I'm wanting to get a lot of stuff graded, and kind of I'm starting to tap into like the buying individual cards and a lot of that side of things, because I know that's where it's probably where I should be, instead of just buying every box I find. But I
like that though. You tried to get educated,
I think that's right. You want to learn about it, and I want to do it the right way. I don't want to just fast forward some time and be like, I just wasted a bunch of time and money.
Oh, everybody does that, Hayden.
Yeah, we all do that. We all get stuck.
I've wasted plenty of money. Don't worry. I think I'm an expert, but believe me, I've wasted money.
Yep. You'll have a few vulnerable moments, and you'll go back to wasting your money.
I already
at some
have
point.
one. There we
go. What are you most proud of in your PC? Like, what are some special cards that you have?
I think some like not necessarily my most valuable ones, but I think there's just cool story. Like I got one right here. When I was in college, and I forget the school we were playing, but one of my roommate in college at Murray State, his name is Adrian. He's a big collector, and that's where I kind of learned about the grading them and selling them, and then that whole side of things. And so what we would do is every time we went on a road trip, is we'd check out the local Walmart, check out the local Target, and we'd buy a box if we found one. And it was cool because we were in different states and doing all this stuff. And so probably the first cool card I got was I got the gold Penny Hardaway, and it's numbered 1 out of 10. And I bought it from like a $15 box or whatever it was.
Wow.
So
there we go.
That was the thing that I was like, oh, this is kind of cool.
Yeah.
And then, I've pulled some other cool stuff. Like just out of cheap boxes. Like I got a Wemby numbered to 99 somewhere that I pulled out of a $20 Walmart box. Those
Love
are
that.
That's good.
yeah. So
So there's hope. There's hope for
Yeah.
us out of
Yeah.
Walmart boxes then. All right. All right, everybody.
yeah, I mean it is what it is. I mean, I got some going through because, like I said, I collected when I was like when I was a kid, and kind of going through there and finding some old stuff that I'm like, this is really like I got a rookie signature Verlander, and at the time in 2003, I didn't know who Verlander was, or whenever his rookie year was.
Yeah.
I didn't know who Verlander was, and here it is. And
awesome.
Here we go.
Like, now
Sweet.
He's one of the greatest pitchers ever. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
cool.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, Hayden. So we've got one more question for you. LZ is going to ask, but before we do, we kind of teased in the beginning. You're being very generous with your time. You're going to give one of our listeners a half-hour FaceTime if they've got a kid, daughter or son in softball or baseball, tips, pitching, get in the zone, whatever, whatever you may be. Which
The
is
flow
awesome.
state, Nick.
The flow state.
It's called the flow state now.
Yeah.
All right. So in order to be eligible, keep this fair. Rule number one, you got to be subscribed to Sports Card Madness YouTube channel. And you have two choices after that. One way is to leave a comment on this video if you're on YouTube. If you're doing this on audio, all you have to do is DM me at Boston Card Hunter on Instagram. Either way gets you in, and we will just randomize, I would say, a week after this show airs. Then I'll pick the winner, and then I will DM you back and get your information.
Love it.
Cool.
Yeah, perfect.
Hey, thank you for doing this. I think this is pretty dope. I told my son's 9. He's kind of into baseball, and he's like, wow, that's so cool. He's gonna like do that for somebody. So you're gonna make somebody's day.
And they're gonna make mine. I think. I mean, like I said, that's a big reason why I do it. I think, when I was young, I would have loved that opportunity, and there are questions I would have loved to ask, and it's really cool to be in the position where I might have some of those answers. And,
How do you grow a foot in 2 years?
Yeah, a lot of my mom is convinced that she didn't let me drink caffeine growing up, and she's convinced that's why. So I didn't drink caffeine until like my senior year of high school when I was 6'8" or something like that.
All right, there's one tip.
It might be my
Hayden, you never know. You could have been 6'11" if you didn't start drinking.
I grew up in college, so maybe slow it down.
All right, we're gonna end it with a random question.
Hit me.
You probably already thought of this, but Nick, you got to give this some thought because this is for all of us.
Oh, okay.
What is your perfect entry song as a pitcher? What would be your entry song in a game coming out to the mound? You probably already have one, Hayden.
Yeah. I mean, my walkout this year.
What is it?
It was Many Men by 50 Cent.
Oh yeah. Okay.
That's
all
what
right.
I walked out to this year. It's kind of changed a lot. It was kind of funny. My senior year in college, it was Pretty Boy Swag. So that I had a good time with that. That was pretty funny. But yeah, and then it's honestly switched. I don't have like a go-to. I wish I did. A lot of people do, but I think last year it was Mini Men. I haven't given too much thought about next year, so I guess we'll have to see.
Oh boy, well now it's in your head. You gotta start thinking about it.
That's true.
Gotta start thinking. All right, Nick, what is it?
I was gonna say Enter Sandman, but that's obviously taken by.
I think that's the best one.
Yeah,
that's the best.
I'm not allowed.
Mariano Rivera.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm gonna go.
I didn't want to overstep right there.
Yeah. I mean, he deserves his own song.
Yeah,
right?
You can't touch that one.
I'm gonna go with Master of Puppets, man. So that's a very, very upbeat song, and I feel like you're kind of puppeteering, right? Like you're kind of making them miss and like.
If I end up using that this year, I'll send you a video of it.
Yes.
Oh, dude, that would be so sick.
That's great.
If you guys end up coming out to a game, I'll use that for sure for that.
Oh man, we're making this happen.
Oh
dude.
no, we got to make this happen. We definitely do.
Awesome. If I ask a question, what is both of your guys' favorite card in your personal collection?
Ooh.
I love asking.
You want me to go first, LZ, or you?
Yeah, I have mine close by somewhere. Go first.
Mine's not close by. Mine is so I've got the whole 1986 Fleer set autographed and slabbed, and the marquee card is obviously Jordan's 86 rookie card.
Yep.
I flew out to Chicago and got it raw So not in a slab, off of just a guy who got him in the 80s, signed it in blue Sharpie. I took a big gamble on it, and then it passed and it slabbed. That's part of my set. That's definitely my favorite card.
Yeah, that's a beautiful card.
It's pretty
beautiful
sick.
card. So for me, growing up, I always wanted the 1980 triple card of Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, and Dr. J.
Ooh.
Always wanted it. Always. Finally got it as an adult, but I have it autographed by all three of them. So that is just, it's not,
cool.
It's
said Larry
cool.
Bird? He's one of
Larry Bird, Magic Johnson,
that's the
Dr. J.
French Lick. I'm an Indiana guy.
There we go. Yeah, you appreciate that.
Yeah,
you do. Yeah, it's very nostalgic for me. Is it worth like $100,000? No, but it's just that card that I always wanted as a kid, and I kind of trumped it by getting them autographed as an adult. So,
and that's kind of how I've been like the first slabs that I've been collecting have been Randy Johnson, like all his old stuff.
I wonder why.
Yeah,
that's the first thing I said to LZ when we were just like researching you. I'm like, this dude's Randy Johnson.
I hope.
Are you gonna hit a bird too, like on the way to the mound?
If I ever do, I'm walking off the field. That'd be the coolest thing. That'd be the coolest thing to happen to me. I mean, he's my favorite player of all time, and I don't know if it's close.
He's awesome,
dude.
So,
he's
awesome.
Such a badass. Yeah,
his stuff isn't necessarily worth a bunch of money, but it's just cool to have it, and I'm kind of like, I know he has a lot of stuff out there, so that's kind of what I'm trying to see if he's got any cool stuff. So if anyone out there has got some cool Randy Johnson stuff, I'd love to take a look at it. So
yes,
still need your entrance song, LZ.
Oh, my entrance song. Which one comes to mind? Is "Lose Yourself," Eminem.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
I love like the instrumentals at the beginning, like when it's just getting going too. It's just
Eminem's classic. Yeah,
it's
good stuff. Yeah, our
era.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's land this plane. Hayden, I promised to give you a little bit of time just to shout out maybe your Instagram or maybe any other cards that you're looking for besides Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
So your kind of turn to speak to the audience.
Yeah, I think if anyone has some cool stuff and they want to reach out to me, I'd love to, take a look at it or, have a quick conversation with anyone. I love all this stuff. So my Instagram's just my name, Hayden Wynja. So I'm pretty easy to find. I'm the only one, I think, out there. So
for those on audio, how do you spell your last name?
Wynja. So Hayden, Hayden, Hayden Wynja. And not hard to find. Yeah, feel free to reach out to me, give me a follow, and I'd love to check out what you got. Yeah, and
no screwed, awesome. Hayden. Don't be sending them boxes with open packs. Me and Nick will be all over you. We'll
you're done. Yeah, you're done. Nobody mess with this guy. Yeah. He's 6'9" and has a nasty fastball. He'll get you. He'll get you. Oh, Hayden, man, this is a pleasure. You are very outgoing and fun to talk to. I'm sure you're gonna crush your baseball career. When you get your Bowman card, I want one signed. I'm sure LZ does too.
I'll see if I can. Yeah, I'll send you guys some stuff right when I get it for sure.
Love it.
I'm really excited to follow your career. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you. That means a ton. That means a ton. I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me on and taking the time to talk to me. So I really appreciate it.
You got it.
Absolutely.
All right.
Bye,
Thanks,
everybody.
Everyone.